Aborigines, the first human inhabitants of Australia. But for how long have they been here? How smart were they? And how did they use their limited resources to make their life easier and better? Before we can get into the Aboriginal life and their civilization, we need to find out for how long have the Aborigines been here, and to find this out, we need to know how to date things. There are multiple ways to date things. One way to date fossils that historians use is radiocarbon dating. Radiocarbon, or carbon-14, is naturally occurring. It is found in trace amounts in carbon dioxide, which plants absorb. When animals eat the plants, the carbon-14 is passed on. Carbon-14 isn't affected by anything, except time. It's kind of like a countdown. When carbon-14 is at such a tiny amount we can no longer measure it, it has been at least 55,000 years. There is also thermoluminescence dating. Thermoluminescence dating is the dating by using the amount of radiation accumulated over time passed since materials containing crystallinous minerals were either heated by something like lava or exposed to sunlight. This is a lot more complex, and that was a very simplified version of how it works. It would be used for something like a spear or a construction. But what's the point of dating things? Well, if you were to date something that has importance to the Aboriginals, something they used for example, like an artifact, you could get an estimate of how long they have been here. One artifact that is of great importance is Mungo Man. Mungo Man is a fossil of an ancient Aborigine. It is located in a lake in the southwest of New South Wales. It is around 43,000 years old. This gives us the impression that Aborigines would have been here for a while, because they were here long enough to at least colonize a lot of New South Wales, which is hard because there's a lot of desert. Archaeological evidence suggests that a rock shelter was used by people in a site in Arnhem-Land 56,000 years ago. While this is very close to being hard evidence, we can't be 100% sure about it. Even though it seems extremely likely that Aborigines have been here a lot longer than Mungo Man, he is the oldest very completely 100% true evidence of ancient Aborigines. So the only definite answer is that they have been here for at least 43,000 years. But what was the Aboriginal civilization like? Well, one thing that we can see is that they were really smart. The Brewarrina fish trap is a 3,000-year-old structure built out of stones. It stretched over half a kilometre and was built over 12 pools. When the fish were going upstream, they would get caught, and the only thing the Aborigines would have to do is quickly trap it by laying down stones. There were different layers of rocks for different water levels. It was very resistant to fast streams too. The Aboriginals would even learn about water ecology and fish migration to maximise their gains. This is a true testament to their intelligence. They were able to make things like we would today, except we would use better materials. Another testament to their intelligence would be the 7 boomerang, a boomerang that was shaped like, as the name suggests, a 7. Unlike a normal boomerang, the 7 boomerang wouldn't fly in an arc, but wibble-wobble in the air. This made it very hard for Aborigines to dodge them. This is intelligent because it proves that they were able to find out how the boomerang worked and make it better suit their purposes. The third artifact is the emu feather skirt. It was only worn by women only during ceremonies. This shows that the Aborigines were not only intelligent, but traditional and cultural. So how was their daily life? Well, now is a good time to tell you that Australia is a big place. Different tribes would have different lifestyles. While in places near Brewarrina, you might work some hours at the fish trap and collect your meal of the day, and then spend the rest of the day doing ceremonies and other cultural things, like playing the didgeridoo, playing games, cooking and eating. They would also develop weapons, attack other tribes, farming, and maybe do some hunting, but not nearly as much as other tribes would. These places like Brewarrina would probably be very cultural. Like how Victoria, where there are a lot of lakes and rivers that were very easy to fish in, is very cultural and has things like emu feather skirts. Those places like Brewarrina would have similar things. In other places, there would be a lot more reliance on hunting animals. Research by anthropologists since the mid-19th century have witnessed wars between Aboriginal tribes. Some wars would take place over hunting territory, so in these places, Aboriginals might spend hours of hunting in the morning and then train with weapons, test new weapons, and generally try and become respected warriors. These places would probably have their culture revolve around warriors and war. They would probably be constantly improving their weapons and war tactics during the day. A good artifact to prove this is the Workley 7 boomerang. So, in conclusion, the Aboriginal civilization were extremely intelligent for their time, but very limited by the resources they had. While some people may tell you we have loads of iron and other resources in Australia, you can't instantly go from rocks and sticks to those resources. There's a lot of things in between. They were so intelligent because they would make their lives easier by constructing complex structures. They would even study water ecology and fish migration patterns to maximize their gains. This is proved by the fish trap. They were very innovative and were constantly improving upon their inventions, which is proved by the seven boomerang, which also proves that in some areas there were lots of war and feuds. They were also very traditional and cultural, proven by the emu feather skirt and how it is only worn by women in ceremonies. Their daily lives could consist of cultural activities like festivals, playing the didgeridoo, and making clothes. There would also be many things that are not cultural that Aboriginals did, like hunting animals, farming animals, mainly fish, constructing structures, inventing new things like weapons and tools, and fighting other tribes.